Hey everybody, and welcome to Let's Look at Deadly 30. Deadly 30 is a brand new, at least it's brand new to Steam, 2D zombie survival game, if that makes sense. It's a little bit tower defense-y, but not really. It's a little bit Contra-y, a little bit more on that side than the tower defense side. It reminds me a lot of games like Metal Slug and Contra, but with kind of like a zombie survival element associated with it. That's kind of cool, right? I mean, I'm, fatigued as hell, as fatigued as anybody else is with the sheer number of zombie games that come out on a regular basis now. This one's still kind of neat. It's not my favorite ever, and it probably does enough to warrant the asking price, which is $5 or like $3.70, I think, for its opening week sale, for a certain contingent of people, and a lot of other people are probably going to be frustrated with it. But in any case, let's get started here, and I'll explain why I feel that way. So, the basics of the game are pretty simple. You can tell just from looking at it here. You got kind of like an Intrusion 2 or Contra style way to move around here. It's very influenced by Metal Slug as well. And what's actually neat, and one of the gimmicks of the game, and I never mean gimmick in a derogatory sense, is that you can actually meet people as you play, and I believe there are 3 different people that you can meet, and they're almost like classes. So it takes place in like World War II, and oh no, something's gone wrong. Not, more so than usual, I suppose, for the Second World War. We start playing as this American soldier who's just like trying to survive the zombie apocalypse. I'm on day 4 now, and I've just discovered this kind of Nazi Ava Braun type character here, who I can actually switch to on the fly and use. And what's neat is that these are not just like, palette swaps. They actually contain different weapons as well. So she has a shotgun, which is extremely powerful at close range. He has a, like a Tommy gun or a Thompson or something like that. Is Tommy gun just a Thompson? I think my mind has just been blown. They also have that melee attack that just comes out automatically when you get close to an enemy, or an enemy gets close to you. So what is our goal of the game? Well, if you look down in the bottom right there, you'll see some valuable information. Number of medical kits is the very bottom. The very top is the number of shells or whatever ammunition I would be using if I was not using the shotgun type character here. The important part is the absolute middle of that. That is the number of scrap that we have. And scrap is something that we use to improve our base and, buy new upgrades for our items and our armor and stuff like that. And make our base a little bit more formidable for these nighttime excursions. So, the game has a little bit of a rhythm associated with it. During the day, you go out and hunt for supplies, and at night, you kind of hunker down in your base. Usually, you try to get back to your base at least, and just try to survive the night, and then you're rewarded with scrap for surviving. So we're going to walk basically until the end of these cornfields, which is where we are right now. Then we're just going to walk back, because you can't really get that far in a single day's walking time. Mind you, that being said, if we wanted to invest a little bit more time, this guy's doing a great job of checking all the spots here. If we wanted to invest a little bit more time and be a little bit riskier, we could go even further. There's like multiple levels in each direction. It'll make it impossible for us to get back to our base for night, and then we'll have to deal with like the aggressive enemies while we're just kind of out in the wilderness. It's possible to do though, especially as we upgrade our person a little bit more. This is only day 4. If you're wondering why it's called Deadly 30, I'm pretty sure that you're supposed to survive for 30 days. So let's make our way back here. It is dusk, but we should be able to get back to the base in time for nighttime, unless something terrible happens. We'll be back pretty soon, regardless. And that'll give us a good chance to talk about the second phase of the game. This is the first phase of the game, resource gathering. It's a little bit, I don't necessarily want to say tedious, because I've only played it for like an hour or so. Maybe it'll get tedious later. But I can definitely see how this would get repetitive. And, even though I'm only on day 4, I actually died on night 3 or night 2 several times over and over and over. So I've done many, many days in the game, more than just 4. And I'm getting a little sick of the routine of like, okay, start from your base, walk out as far as you can go, dismantle these like trucks and tanks and things like that, and okay, so here's our base. So yeah, I can see how that would get a little tedious. Now, what we can do is go to our shop here. There's various other things we can do, and we can spend our money. So we have 660 scrap. These weapons all represent characters that we can find, or I should say each class of weapons. So the submachine gun or machine gun represents the American soldier. So we've already gotten all of his upgrades. He's got the Thompson. With the German lady, we can actually upgrade to either a super double barrel or the pump action. We'll upgrade to the pump action. And then I believe you come across like a Russian fighter as well, and you can outfit him with obviously a rifle here. But I haven't found him yet. Maybe we'll find him in the other direction. But sure, we spent about 2,000 scrap upgrading our pump action shotgun. We can also upgrade things like our... Oh, Tomo, you fell. It's okay, buddy. Sorry about that distraction there. We can also upgrade things like our fence, for example, but that'll take 5,000 scrap. That's an awful lot. We can upgrade our armor, but that'll take 4,000, which I just don't quite have right now, so I could save up a little bit if I want to. Or I could upgrade my boots. I honestly don't know what this does. I think maybe it makes us move a little bit faster. Or maybe, for some reason I can't shake the feeling that maybe it improves our melee attack, but that doesn't really seem to make too much sense, does it? So I think what I'm going to do is pick up some ammo. So we have, as of right now, 451 submachine gun bullets. I think we'll pick up some more of those. 700's enough. And then we'll get some more shotgun shells. We'll get up to like 200 maybe. Maybe 230 or something like that. Okay, so we have 3,000 left. Now what I would like to do is actually just make some boxes. And it might seem like this is really silly, but this is actually something that's extremely important for us to do. Because we need to keep these enemies out. And the way that we're going to keep these enemies out is just by throwing barricades up in their face, basically. So at night, the enemies kind of rush you down. It reminds me a lot of kind of the rhythm of something like Terraria. We can also repair this fence, by the way. The zombies will almost certainly break these boxes and completely destroy my barricades. But the boxes are still necessary just to kind of keep them from totally destroying this. Now, the AI is actually pretty good. They do a reasonably good job of keeping these zombies at bay, as you can see right there. Oh my god, the cat is just not having any of this Hugo Weaving Red Skull nonsense. And in fact, I'm probably the person who's fucking up right now by abandoning my post. I just heard an explosion, or saw an explosion, which means that this fence on the other side has probably gone down. Now, I believe that these zombies, their overall goal is to kill me, but also the game told me to protect my generator. I haven't actually seen zombies attack a generator, so it's weird to me that it told me to do that. That being said, I understand that the generator is probably pretty important, because that's how the game started, was actually by me finding this generator. Anyway, so, you know, Terraria style, we kind of just hang out here and make sure no zombies are able to infiltrate our hideout, at least not forever. We have unlocked the Russian machine gun, which we will not be able to use. You get one of those new blueprints every time you level up, by the way. You can see that experience meter up there in the top left. I haven't really leveled up too many times. It seems to come pretty slowly, maybe a couple of level ups a day if you're lucky. Oh, how did you hit me through the fence there? We're probably pretty close to surviving the night. It seems like nights tend to be, oh god, help me. Nights tend to be about, you know, maybe 4 to 5 minutes long, and then each phase of the day, maybe just a little bit shorter than that. It goes like dawn, day, dusk. Alright, that might be the end, or at least we're closing in on it. I'm liking just keeping my fence repaired. By the way, it's one of the weirdest games from a difficulty curve standpoint, in that, like, the last night that I had was actually substantially more difficult than this one, because now I have an AI companion to help me. I'll shut up here.
Green. Then blue. Finally red. These things are only getting stronger by the day. If this keeps up, I don't know if I'll be leaving out of this alive. Ugh. I got diarrhea. Oh.
Alright, so hopefully you could hear that. That was the dude basically pooping himself and then being like, I got diarrhea. Anyway, you know, it's funny or it's not funny depending on your perspective. Let's repair our fence quickly and get a move on here. I want to do another day and night here so you can get a kind of feel for the rhythm that we've got going on here. Again, gather resources during the day, and then at night, kind of do the siege to resist the enemies. It's kind of a neat idea, is to have like simultaneous co-op with the AI. And the AI is adequate. It does a decent enough job at making sure that, you know, they're where they need to be and they're shooting who they need to shoot. The zombies get stronger day after day, so the game presumably gets more difficult, although this actually was a difficulty decrease to actually not have to worry about... Oh, what is that? To not have to worry about holding, like, both doors simultaneously. So... I'm just gonna go pick up some more scrap here, and maybe... I don't really want to spend this night out, but we can, I guess. Moreover, I kind of just want to hit the amount of scrap that we need to upgrade our armor, or upgrade our fences again, because the fences are obviously extremely important if you are trying to survive through the night. So what are my overall impressions on Deadly 30 so far? It's actually, the more I play of it, the more I like it. I still don't like it that much. I don't think this is necessarily, you know, Game of the Year material or something like that. And it's the kind of thing where, again, great idea, but multiplayer would have added a lot to this, I think. And this is an example of a game. It's not like there is local multiplayer, but online just doesn't exist. This one just doesn't have multiplayer at all. And there's a subset of people out there who always complain. They're like, why do you complain that there's not multiplayer in games where... I get when people are like, okay, if it's a single-player game and you're like, well, I really wish that, well, this is an example. Tomb Raider actually did have multiplayer, but let's say, I really wish that Gone Home had multiplayer or something like that. That's dumb. That being said, a game like this where there's multiple kind of people being controlled, and I think a little bit of social interaction would improve it a little bit. I don't think that's a moot criticism or a criticism that should fall on deaf ears. I think it's a criticism that is actually pretty valuable, or pretty valid at the very least. So if this had multiplayer, I could see definitely playing this on an NLSS and having a pretty good time with it. Instead, you're playing with the AI, and you know, it can carry you so far, but it can only carry you so far, if that makes sense. Like, you know, when there are games that are repetitive, beat-em-ups, things along those lines. Not to say I hate all beat-em-ups, but I do think that there's, you know, repetition is something that's endemic to that genre, and this genre as well. It's dusk. We should probably start heading back home. One thing that can help kind of alleviate the strain of that repetition is having friends to banter with and talk with and compete with, whereas here it's just the AI, and you're all on the same team, so it's not like it's competition, but Left 4 Dead is kind of a good example in its, like, co-op campaigns, not to speak of the, like, asymmetrical multiplayer. I think Left 4 Dead is a game that is pretty repetitive from a single-player or, like, story campaign mode kind of standpoint, but being able to play with friends elevates it to kind of a greater level than that, just as a result of that social aspect. And I really think if there was that social aspect in this game, it would be a lot easier to recommend, and the kind of thing that was more universally recommendable as well, because this game doesn't have any super glaring faults beyond the fact that it's repetitive. As it stands, it's still recommendable. Oh my god, just leave. Thank you. It's still recommendable, but in a bit of a more niche way. I still think it's kind of an interesting game, but we've come to the standpoint, by the way, we're going to have to fight our way back during the night here, which is a very stupid decision on my part. I just went too far. But the game doesn't give you any indicator when you should turn back, which is good. It allows you to kind of figure it out for yourself. And we have some light anyway. It's just going to take us an awful long time. The good news is, once we get back, we'll have a shorter night to deal with. And the other thing is the zombies don't actually break into your house when you're not there, which is very polite of them. Weird, but also polite. Continue moving onwards here. I don't know if maybe there's some new kind of zombies I have not encountered before. AI, again, my favorite thing about the AI, it's formidable. He's probably doing better than I am. Oh, it's a boomer, that's what it is. He's probably doing better than I am, so I really appreciate it. This is not a game where you get kind of saddled with anemic AI. They're actually very good at what they do. By the way, if you're wondering why I'm crouching before I shoot all the time, if you crouch, it actually increases the... Oh, Lord. Oh, my God. I didn't know that could happen. If you crouch, you actually get extra damage. Was I killed there? I may have been killed there. Holy shit, my mistake. Well, you can see the credits there, but I think Hill Smith? I think you may have missed a W there. I'm just joking, Hill, by the way. Good music. You know, why don't we continue and we'll do that day over again, but we'll try not to fuck it up so badly. So I'm gonna say, I really like the kind of Nazi princess here because the shotgun seems way more damaging than the Tommy gun, which is to be expected, I suppose. So this time we'll go to the cornfields again. We just won't go as far before we come back for the day. We'll just get enough to upgrade our armor or our barricades. Probably not both, though. Yeah, the biggest complaint that I can levy against the game is that it's repetitive. And it sucks when you lose a day, or you complete an entire day. The days are usually the most laborious part, right? Because you're just, like, harvesting scrap metal. And then things get exciting at night. It sucks when you die at night and then have to repeat the day. Usually it's only, you know, as you can tell, 3 or 4 minutes maybe, 5 minutes maybe. I actually probably should have timed the day-night cycle, but I'm not sure. Then, yeah, you know, at least you're not playing too much, but still, it's a little tedious. And, you know, I don't know. I'm struggling with this game. It's a game where I think when I first saw it on Steam, I had a bit of a negative bias towards it because it's a zombie game, and oh, I only appreciate games as art. I don't like zombie games. That's not true, by the way. You know, I played a ton of DayZ and enjoyed it a great deal. That's the primary example, I guess. But played a ton of Minecraft, Terraria, and Starbound that all have like similarities to this game. Less from a building standpoint, but more from like a surviving sieges from enemies at night. But it didn't wow me, I shouldn't say. It impressed me a little bit more than I expected it to, but maybe not enough to really garner a great recommendation, if that makes sense. It's like it's a B, maybe a B minus. That's not bad, certainly. What do you say if somebody gives you a B minus? You know, if you're giving someone a B minus, you say, you know, it was an admirable effort, I think. I don't think there's a lot negative to say about this game. But when, you know, it's a very competitive gaming landscape, when you're suggesting what people should buy with their money, as always, I suggest if you like what you see and, you know, there's no glaring thing that I'm saying that says don't buy this. Like, if you're just watching Airport Simulator and you're like, oh, these airport models look really good, maybe he's just choosing not to do anything exciting because he doesn't want to spoil anything, then you should listen to the dialogue and say, you know, I'm not going to buy this. But in this case, if you like what you see, by all means, go pick it up. There's a link in the video description on Steam. Oh, we can build turrets now. Fantastic.
This whole area.
But in this case, you know, it's a competitive gaming landscape. People, they want to be tight with what they spend their money on, maybe even especially after the holidays. Or maybe they spend their money more freely after the holidays. I don't know. What I'm getting at is there are probably games that you would enjoy more for your money. That being said, there's a lot of way worse values on Steam. And this is not me saying, oh, there's not enough game here for $5. This is more of me saying there's probably other things that maybe you'd better spend your time with, because to some extent the repetition does become a little bit annoying here, and I'm noticing it as I go onwards here. It would almost be cool to have kind of like a base building aspect, so you could you know, build like a little outpost out in the wilderness, and then you could kind of stay there overnight instead of having to constantly come back. Build turret. Is it 6,000 or 3,000? Oh, it's the big turret 3,000. It costs 6,000, so I don't have enough money for this yet. That's unfortunate. Whatever, that's fine. That is the tower defense element of the game, as far as I understand it. Let us upgrade our armor then. So we've done that. Does that give us aesthetic changes? I can't tell, but I don't think so. The night is approaching. I was pretty close to being able to buy that turret, but we actually just were not quite there. Maybe might want to get a little bit more ammunition. How much ammunition do we have? 361. For our submachine gun, let's make sure our AI has a little bit more at his disposal. And I'm probably good for shells, but I'll take a few. And I wanted to take a few, not too many, just so I had enough to also buy a med kit, as you can see. Good, so I do have 2 med kits now. So, you know, I don't necessarily have to wait for the AI to show up. Or, not the AI, but the zombies to show up. I could just sleep in my bed as well. You can see that's one of our options here. I think that's a pretty silly decision, though. And, you know, to some extent, good AI kind of strikes me as a catch-22. Because on the... Oh, that's fine. I mean, obviously it's influenced by Left 4 Dead. I'm not going to say it's a ripoff. Many games have taken kind of the Boomer model. But what I was going to say is I feel like it's kind of a catch-22 when it comes to good AI. Because the better the AI is, like the less stuff I have to do. Does that make it a worse game? No, not necessarily, of course. But that being said, if the AI just abandons its posts like that, it kind of creates an issue for me. Could you shoot and all repair, please? Oh my god, they broke through our other fence. You asshole. Guard the other door, you scumbag! Are you going to the... now I need to protect you, because look at the nonsense over here. You're just gonna cut them up with mom's machete? I'm impressed, actually. Okay, reload. Take him out. There we go. Don't get vomited on. And I'm just gonna assume that the AI can handle himself, and I will just stand back here and repair these fences. Oh, my teammate has died. You can switch between your teammates on the fly, by the way. Why did I not do it? I really like Shotgun Lady. I think she's substantially more powerful than the Machine Gun Man. I really want to unlock the rifle as well, because that seems like the best of both worlds, really, doesn't it? I guess if you've already been vomited on, then vomit doesn't really have much of an effect. Probably will not be able to rebuild these fences, so I'm a little concerned about that. By the way, if you're wondering where the Metal Slug thing came from, my knowledge or my inkling that this is very Metal Slug inspired, obviously that is a result of like pulling out the melee automatically when you get really close. That is a super Metal Sluggy type thing. Please tell me that I can still survive this. She is really good with that pan. I don't mean that in a sexist way at all. She's just chopping these zombies up. We'll use another med kit. Don't... There we go. Hey, I actually survived through the night. So what I can give the game is, you know, it's intense. It is really intense. These night times, you don't always, not everybody makes it out alive. Let's put it that way. That being said, I'm just going to surrender this one, as long as it's saved, and it is saved. It saves after every night. Again, 30 nights, right? 30 days. If you survive that, I imagine the game ends, but it's not going to be easy to do so. It's been a fairly challenging game so far. This is Deadly 30. That's the danger of having a name like that, I suppose. How is it? It's alright. It's intriguing. It's a little bit repetitive. Could I see myself doing all 30 days in it? Probably not. That being said, it's pretty okay. It's certainly not a bad game. And it's one of the few games where, like, within that kind of zombie sub-genre that doesn't necessarily repulse me right away just because there's so many of them. At least it tries something a little bit new with it. Plus, I'm a sucker for action platformers and Contra-style games. So, I'm sorry if I don't have a definitive yes or no answer about whether or not you should buy this. Like most things in life, it is a shade of gray, and it is more up to you to determine for yourself or divine for yourself whether this is enough of up your fancy for the asking price, which is very modest. This is on on the modest end of Steam releases at either $3 and change during its opening week sale, or $5 afterwards. Anyway, in any case, this is Deadly 30. As always, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the episode, well, first things first, make sure to check out Deadly 30 on Steam. The link is in the video description below. And also, if you enjoyed the video, click the like button. It would help me out a great deal. Your support means the world to me. And of course, subscribe if you want to see more first impressions like this in the future. As always, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.